Hi, it's Naphtali Hoff. First of all, I want to thank you all for watching my last video. The feedback was incredible. I really appreciate so many of you watching the video, commenting, sharing your thoughts. That's really what makes this leadership engagement so exciting for me. And so I thank you, and I'm super excited to present today's video to you. If you haven't had a chance to watch that video yet, please take a look at this link, click on it, and watch that video first. Make sure you get all that background information before you watch this second video. This video is going to build upon what we've already discussed. And as a special bonus for watching this video today, I'm going to share with you a link at the end of the video that's going to allow you access to a free webinar on communication. It's a great webinar, focuses on the 5 senses of communication and how we could use our different senses, our different modalities, our different foci in a way that's going to ultimately help you communicate more effectively with your team. As a brief reminder before we move on, in the last video we talked about the importance of new leaders getting off on the right foot. Whether you're a new leader starting in your brand new position, whether you're somebody who's been a leader before but transitioning upward or into a different company, the bottom line is new leadership transitions are difficult. You have new relationships to make, or perhaps you have to adjust those relationships. You have to learn the people on your team, understand the culture, and work within the context that you find in order to ensure that you move forward with great success. Hit the ground running and have that sustained success that follows you to ensure that you have a wonderful and successful leadership experience. In that last video, we talked about the importance of establishing workplace values and how new leaders can utilize values as a way by which to create great alignment with themselves and with their teams. We talked about the idea of having a values list and utilizing that list to really identify core values that are necessary for you to make proper decisions, establish protocol, and work effectively with your team. We also talked about how to prioritize, how to identify which of those values has precedence or takes precedence when they seem to butt up one against the other, and to establish in that regard a way by which to make decisions when you have different competing values and you're not sure which one should take precedence. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go back and watch it first, get all that great information, and then join us in this second. Before I go any further, I just wanted to remind you a little bit about my own background. I'm president of Impactful Coaching and Consulting and author of Becoming the New Boss. I'm a former organizational leader, and I like to share my experiences with you and the learning that I've done with you in order to ensure that your beginning is as successful as possible. So let's jump right into it. Today we're going to focus on another critical area, and that's the area of listening. Listening is important because, as you know, leadership is all about relating to your team. And so we're going to talk about those ideas today because if we get through these pieces, establish the basis, and then touch on the 7 tips that we'll talk about shortly of effective listening, it's going to make such a difference in your beginning. And I got to tell you something, I really wasn't as good as I thought I would be in this area in particular. When I first started out, my listening skills left something to be desired. I was quick to make decisions. I asked for feedback, but perhaps not with enough people, and didn't necessarily take the steps that I needed in order to make my team feel that I was really there to listen to them. I was kind of busy with my phone, texting, communicating in that way, thinking that I was going to be proactive and be responsive, but most of the people who I was engaging with did not find that type of communication to work for them. They thought I was too busy with my phone. I was walking into context, into meetings and things, utilizing it in order to be responsive elsewhere, but not being present, and not giving the people that I was with at that particular time the attention, the focus that they deserved. So I'd like to spare you those challenges and help you succeed, and we're going to walk through these steps together that's going to really make a difference in your transition. Listening is a critical element of leadership for the following 4 reasons. Number 1, when you listen, it provides validation. People feel validated, and to a secondary degree, people feel heard. When people feel validated and they feel heard, they feel like they have somebody who's listening to them, somebody who cares about them, somebody who wants to make sure that they make a meaningful contribution to the organization. Another benefit of good listening is the fact that it develops trust. Trust is a critical element of a relationship between leader and those that he is leading. And it's really important that that trust be developed very deeply. We're going to talk about that in a subsequent video. But for now, you should know that when you listen well, it develops trust within your team. And finally, number 4. Trust keeps the lines of communication open. Communication is critical, we all know that. The more that information is being passed freely within an organization, the more likely that ideas are going to be shared, that progress is going to be made, that silos will be knocked down, and that people will feel very much part and parcel of what's going on within their organization. So now that we've talked about the importance of listening, now let's talk about some concrete steps that we could take to become better listeners. Number 1, see eye to eye. When you have a conversation with somebody, look them in the eye. Make that initial eye contact. Let them know that you are looking directly at them and that they are your direct focus. Nothing else is important to you at that moment. Number 2, use receptive body language. This is really critical as well. You want to go ahead and utilize gestures, smile, other nonverbals that indicates that you are happy to be with them and happy to hear from them. Number 3, your position makes a difference. Lean in a little bit. Don't cross your arms or cross your legs. Keep an open posture. When you lean in, it indicates that you want to get close with that person. You don't want to get too close, but you certainly don't want to be too far. If you can maintain that right balance where somebody feels like you're with them, but you're not in their face, that's really helpful. And if you keep an open posture, that means you're open to ideas. Sometimes when you cross different parts of your body, it indicates that you are being closed, that you are resistant, that you are not so interested in hearing what they have to say. And that's really not good. Number 4, talk less and listen more. You know, there's a quip that was said once before that if we were supposed to talk more and listen less, we would have 2 mouths and 1 ear. But of course we have the opposite. And that should be a reminder for all of us that in any conversation, we want to be the listener. We don't really want to be the talker. There's a story told by Dale Carnegie in his famous book that once he was having a conversation with a botanist at an event, and the botanist just talked and talked and talked. And at the very end, he made a comment to Carnegie on his way out, and he said to somebody else actually, you know, that guy is a really great conversationalist. And of course, Carnegie was flattered, but he was also surprised because he barely got a word in. This guy talked the entire time. But the idea is that the other person felt that Carnegie was with him. And though he wasn't talking, he was conversing. So to be a great conversationalist, and more importantly, to be a great connector, you want to be a great listener. Talk less and listen more. Number 5, summarize and clarify. I didn't mention yet the idea of taking notes during the conversation, but that's important. When you take notes, number 1, you make sure that you don't miss anything, and number 2, you give the indication that you really care, that the person who you're talking to, their words matter enough for you to write it down. When you are done, or when that person is done actually, summarize and clarify. Summarize what you thought that you heard. So let me get this clear. What I heard from you was X, and the person would confirm that. And if the person says that they in fact said something different, clarify what in fact was said. Or if you have any questions about what was said, so tell me about this point. Clarify for me what you meant over here. And the more that you use clarification as well as summarizing of somebody else's information, they feel super. They feel great because they feel that you really took the time to listen, you jotted it down, you summarized it for them, you clarified whatever you thought might need clarification, and you are done. And that's awesome because that really makes such a difference. Number 6, leave the door open. Recognize that the conversation is not done. Yeah, you're getting up now and you're moving on with your day, and that other person is as well. But there may be other times and other needs for the conversation to continue. Let that person know that he or she is invited back. If you need to talk about it more, come back to me. I want to hear what's going on. Keep me updated. Let me know how things are developing. And finally, number 7, thank them. Especially if they're giving you information that may not be flattering. Recognize that it takes guts. It takes risk for somebody to walk into your office and share things, concerns, grievances, even positive ideas and recognition. All of these things take something from the talker to go ahead and actually present that to you. And so you have to thank them. Thank them for their time, thank them for their openness, thank them for their willingness to share ideas with you. And if you do these, if you position yourself right, if you indicate that you want to hear, you jot things down, you summarize and clarify, you keep the door open, and at the same time you thank them for everything that they've done in order to give you that information, you are going to have many people coming to your door willing to share and giving you great insight and great feedback about what's working, what's not, new ideas, new concerns, all of that. Great, important leadership qualities necessary, especially for people who are just getting started and want to build that traction, that foundation, that relationship. Listening is such an integral part of all of that. If you're listening to this video and you have led before, you might be asking, what do I need this for? I've been a leader, I've already gone through the ringer, I know what it's like, why do I need to watch another video? The reality is that each leadership experience is a new one. And so it's important to refresh. It's important to get new information. It's important to learn what research has to say about how leaders can be most effective. And so that's why I'm sharing this information with you, even though I know that you've got great experience and I know you have wonderful things to fall back on. It's always wonderful, it's always great to share new ideas. You may be thinking that you don't know me. We've never met before. We haven't had the opportunity to work together. Why should you trust me? What is it that I know about leadership that's going to add value to your work? So I would simply say as follows. If you watched the last video in our talk about values, and you watched today's video about how to become a better listener, and I shared some ideas with you that you can take away, I shared some ideas with you that can make a difference in your practice, hopefully that's a reason for you to trust what I have to say. Remember, as we talked about in the first video, the importance of training is critical. New leaders have a small window, typically 90 days or so, to make an impact. The need for immediate impact is there. People want to see, can you be the difference maker that they've been looking for? So you don't have that much time, and you want to build positive momentum. And that's why it's really critical for those who are transitioning to make sure that they do everything they can to position themselves for success. And as I mentioned in the first video, that's why I wrote my book. Because I want to make sure that everybody who is getting into leadership has everything at their disposal necessary to be successful. In our next video, we're going to talk about building trust. Trust, as we will see, is a critical element of leadership. We'll talk about the 4 key foundational blocks associated with trust and how we can take practical steps in order to build trust within our organization. I really hope you're going to watch that video as well. So if you liked this video and you thought it was helpful, you thought it had some ideas that were valuable to you, leave some comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Ask me any questions you might have about the video. Engage, discuss. I want to hear from you. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. I hope that they are as engaging as the last set of comments, and it gives me even more opportunity to talk with you, to discuss, to share, to answer, and this way we keep the conversation going. Thanks so much for watching this video. As I promised before, I want to share with you a special free resource just for watching today. It's a resource that I'm very proud of, and a webinar on the topic of the 5 senses of communication. Go right to this website, becomingthenewboss.com/free webinar. Go visit the link, check out the webinar, you're going to enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to getting your feedback. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.